come out to play.
In understanding that my sense of self comes from my sense of community, I can agree that my community is self. I can agree that I must contribute to the world around me, and to do so need the strength of a warrior. What makes a warrior? A warrior is one who can look within, have insight, find solace, strength, and purity of being, and apply this to everyday life. A warrior has the tools to write his own story, and the power to care for his community as a family. We all have this power. It is whether we know we do.
And with this said, now I think it's time to
ring the alarm.
You have to let it all go, Mia. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
It is through the understanding and empowerment of our minds that we find personal and collective progress and evolution. It is through the purity and integrity of thought that we enact our personal and collective potentials. Pure thought equals pure being. Empowered thought equals empowered being. It is time to be empowered. It is time to be free. Peace, my beautiful people. This is Guazabara Media, your source of socially conscious information. My name is Dennis Febo, founder and CEO of Guazabara Insights LLC, an educational services provider aimed at raising social consciousness and uplifting our communities. This is our social conscious education series, episode 4, entitled The Power of Thought. There's a famous quote by a gentleman named Rene Descartes, which is one of the founding pillars of Western philosophy. This quote states, "I think, therefore I am." I guess this quote will go to show why it is that there's so many problems with anxiety and depression in this country. Because it is almost as if thinking is automatic, just as being is automatic. Now we know that we are way more than just our thought. We are our feelings, we are our hopes, our aspirations, we are our purposes. Now, placing thought to be automatic sort of takes away the responsibility that we have on our own lives, and making us responsible for our own thought process gives us power in our own lives. I would like to add to that statement and say that we are the possibility behind our thoughts. That gives us power in asserting and making us responsible and making us in charge of what we want in our lives. We could all agree that the thought process comes from the mind, and as discussed in the last episode, all the mind is a collection center of information. Anything that we've learned since we were little till we grow up, anything that we've learned through school and through books, anything that we learned through television, anything that we learned from our parents, all the information that we take in from our 5 senses, and again, as mentioned before in our last episode, all the information that we take in from our heart, our intuition. All this information comes together into our brain and processes the information to allow us to make decisions that we need to make on a day-to-day basis. Now, the brain is made up of different compartments, and each compartment is responsible for different actions within the body. Now, it's funny because as we talk about our minds have our own behaviors. We say that our minds run. We say that you have lost your mind. You say that, something was crossing your mind. Your mind has so many different actions, so many different behaviors. And it's funny because we can never really find where our mind is. It's not in our bodies specifically anywhere. Doctors and physicians and scientists have tried to find where exactly in the brain our mind is centered, where we store information, where we store our memories. And they've done various studies in removing different parts of the brain. And in removing parts of the brain, all these different parts of the brain, they found that the person still had the ability to recognize who they were and still affirm who they were as a person. And they could also still remember different things no matter what part of the brain was removed. So that leads us to believe that the mind is sort of an abstract concept. And so if we can't really pinpoint inside where in the brain, or we can't find memories inside of the brain, then this is a thought for you. Where is our mind? What's funny is that the brain produces chemicals. For every feeling or every thought that you're having, the brain is producing all these different chemicals to give different physiological reactions within the body. So for example, if you're having thoughts that are angry thoughts, then your brain will produce chemicals that would make your body react to anger. So I would want fight or flight response to kick into my body. I would want my major muscles to be ready to go. Blood flow gets cut off to the lower portion of the brain, as mentioned in the previous episode, into our reptilian brains, which is why when you're mad, you can't talk. You start having an argument and you're like, you don't even know what to say because there's no blood flow going to the communication centers of the brain. The body has to respond in different ways, and the body responds mainly to the way that we're feeling. So here's an important concept within consciousness studies. Thoughts, sentiment, action. Thoughts lead to sentiment, lead to action. Our thoughts lead to our feelings, and our feelings lead us to act. It's either you could be a slave to your mind, or you could be a master to your mind. If I'm a slave to my mind can run me straight to the ground. And you could ask anybody that lives in a psych ward or anybody that has psychiatric problems, the mind can become so powerful over you. It can make you think that you're seeing things that are not there, or hearing things that are not there. If we are empowered over our own minds and we have control over our own minds, there's no stopping the human potential. Ask Einstein, ask Gandhi, ask any other human being that has made such an impact on the planet. These human beings have definitely gained power over their own minds. See, thoughts can actually be measured as either positive or negative. The energetic output of the body can also be measured. If our bodies have high energetic outputs, we're most likely to be focused, to be able to concentrate. Our immune systems are strong. We are motivated. We want to do things with our life. That's how we do when we feel happy. Our state of energy is very high. Versus having a low state of energy. We feel unmotivated, we feel depressed, we feel like we don't want to do anything with our lives. So there's this range between high and low states of energy. Now the difference between such is what your thought process is and where your thought process lies. So there's this famous experiment conducted by a Harvard professor where he takes his group of students that he teaches in his classroom, takes their blood, measures it, then has them watch a documentary about Mother Teresa, draws their blood, and then measures their immune system after watching the documentary, and lo and behold, their immune system went up. This is called the Mother Teresa experiment. Just by watching a documentary about a woman who's having a positive impact on the world and raising good feelings within the body alone raised the immune system within the body. So for those of you who are not feeling well or feeling ill, all you have to do is focus on having positive thoughts, and that alone raises the immune system. Now your thoughts could also be measured as frequencies. Every single neuron is firing a little electrical charge, and collectively these charges can be measured. They do it through an EEG or an electroencephalogram. Now there's four main kind of known frequencies, which are alpha, beta, delta, and theta. Beta state is you're watching this video, watching me speak. You're using your awake state, your brain frequency is working at a certain speed, using your senses to perceive the world around you. The moment you shut your eyes or you start to go to sleep, you enter what's called the alpha wave. Alpha wave is somebody who's in a meditative state or somebody who's more relaxed, but you're able to perceive and process more information. Then you have delta and theta waves, which are lower waves, which is when our body needs more rest. Either somebody who's in a deep sleep, somebody who's been in an accident or has in a comatose state where the body needs to be repaired, or someone who's in very deep meditation. Now there's another known brain frequency that has been studied off of Buddhist monks. This is called the gamma frequency, which is measured to even go high as 80 hertz. The gamma frequency is picked up from monks who are meditating on love and compassion. Now here, the frequencies could be measured as low to high, the same way the energetic states could be measured from low to high. This frequency lies on the same spectrum as any other electromagnetic frequency. Your microwave, your radio, light, visible light, everything that you're looking at. The entire electromagnetic frequency spectrum, the human brain frequency process lies within that spectrum. So the world that you're seeing, the world that you're perceiving, is also the world that you're creating as you're emitting from your thought process. Another perfect example how the thought frequency or the thought process affects the world around us. There's this famous experiment by a Japanese doctor named Dr. Masaru Emoto, who figured that water was the most sensitive of all the elements. So what he did was he took two pieces of paper, and one he wrote, "I love you," taped it to a bottle of water. And then he wrote, "I hate you, I will kill you," and taped it onto another bottle. Left them out overnight, and then does this rapid freeze process onto the water. So he just freezes the water and has this very powerful microscope where he's able to take pictures of the molecules of the water. And lo and behold, the water that he placed the words "I love you" happened to crystallize beautifully, as you can see in this image. Versus the water that he put "I hate you, I will kill you" then has this image where you can see that the water did not crystallize at all. It looks kind of ugly. Now, in his book, The Hidden Messages of Water, which he has series of volumes for, he has different pictures of all the different types of things that he exposed water to, whether it be music or the laughter of children, etc., etc. All these different things that he exposed water to and had a different effect to the water. Funny enough, it is known that the human body is made up to 80 to 90% water. So if thoughts can affect a bottle of water, can the thoughts affect our own bodies? What we think of ourselves, can it affect the way we look, the way that we're being? What we think of others, does it have an impact on their bodies physically? Now, what's called mental hygiene and being aware of your thought process, and it's hard because we have so many thoughts per day for us to stop and say, do I have to measure every single thought? Do I have to be aware of every single thought? Now, again, as mentioned in the last episode, all you have to do is worry about being in the now. As your mind starts to stray forward, bring it back, focus on now. If your mind starts to stray backwards, bring it back, focus on the now. This is called living meditatively. Now, when people hear meditation, they have this sort of association to saying, oh, it's religious. There's no such thing as religion behind meditation. All meditation means is being in the now, paying attention to the now. Doesn't mean I have to sit down and go to meditate. I can meditate while doing the dishes. I can meditate while I'm walking down the street. I can meditate while I'm doing number 2 on the toilet. It doesn't really matter. All you're doing is paying attention to the now and incorporating that into your day-to-day basis so that your mind isn't straying too forward or too backward. Your mind is focused on the now. If we create a workplace where people are focusing on being positive and emitting positive frequencies, then you're alone increasing the productivity of your entire team. The same thing works at home with your family. If you feel some people are coming home or people are in the household complaining and emitting a negative vibe, they're polluting the air around them. If we can have our families focus on having positive thoughts, having positive feelings, as cheesy as it may sound, if you want to live happy and you want your family to be happy and be productive and be motivated, we need to focus on having strong positive thoughts and strong positive feelings. Again, thoughts equal sentiment, equal energy. The thoughts create the feelings that you're having. The feelings are going to create the energy in the world around you. This has been The Power of Thought, brought to you by Dennis Febo and Guazabara Insights. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all and have a beautiful rest of your week. Peace.